On one hand, you've got a side to the internet that are able to express a healthy level of skepticism and be constructive about it. And then you've got the really toxic and crazy folks who will issue threats when something doesn't go their way. This is the case with this custom black PlayStation 5 design by a company called Super 5. This is what the design was supposed to look like. You can see it looks pretty attractive, at least to someone who would love an all-black version of the PlayStation 5 and its controller, but beyond it being all black, you've got, the classic PlayStation logo with a classic color scheme. You've got face buttons that are colored in that classic way with the classic PlayStation logo in the middle there. I like this dual tone design of the gray and black, and it just looks really good. I would have loved to purchase one of these, except that will be no longer possible because the company got what they claim to be unwarranted and undeserved backlash from lies and people claiming this was all a scam, and that led to them getting death threats, which led to the ultimate cancellation of this project. So all this began early January 2021 when the company announced that they would be selling 300 custom black PS5 consoles inspired by PS2's design, and that was going to be available for pre-order on January 8th, 2021, and it was going to go for $650 for the console and DualSense controller bundle, and then if you wanted to purchase one of the 500 DualSenses that they were making individually, that was going to set you back $100. Given how hard it is to find PlayStation 5s, and given the demand for custom designs like this and for an all-black PlayStation 5, you can imagine the volume of orders that they saw. Unfortunately, issues for this endeavor cropped up soon after pre-orders went live. So right here, there's a Twitter user who noticed that scalpers were already snatching some of these. One user noticed that a listing for the PS2-themed PS5 was already up on eBay for $5,000. Given how scarce these black custom PS5s are, with only 300 units being produced when this endeavor began, yeah, I can imagine how the scalpers would probably be able to get away with this. They'd probably get someone with a load of money to buy this at that price point. But beyond that, the company saw technical issues when pre-orders went live. Apparently, the company issued a statement on Friday evening saying it was embarrassed with how the North American launch went, with some customers reporting that they were charged for their orders without actually receiving confirmation that they'd secured a console. That helped contribute to this narrative that this company was going out to scam people by selling a fake product. And soon enough, the company did start seeing backlash that went beyond what was acceptable, that crossed lines, and that issued essentially death threats to members of the company, and so Super 5 released the following statement. Important update, last night our team began receiving credible threats to their safety. We take these threats seriously. We aren't willing to risk the safety and well-being of our team or the potential impact this would bring to delivering your order. All existing orders will be canceled and fully refunded in the coming days. You'll receive a notification when this happens. So they're just flat out going, we're out, here's your money back. We're not doing this anymore. This isn't worth the threats that the team members of the company are getting. And then the statement concludes with, we intended this to be a fun way to celebrate a shared nostalgia. As it turns out, there are people out there who are willing to interfere with that. If we determine that it's safe to try again, we will. For now, please stay safe. So maybe they'll come back at some point, but honestly, it's becoming more and more doubtful, especially after Super 5 just full-on deleted their Twitter page. If you try to go to it right now, you'll see that the account doesn't exist. I honestly think the timing of this endeavor really didn't help matters. We're living in a time when PS5s are still low in supply and high on demand. Tensions are high. Desperation is high for some folks. And there were bound to be problems with what is a kind of small startup operation this seems to be versus the amount of demand that there was for what they were selling. First of all, they were actually selling PS5s. That alone is a miraculous find, but the fact that it was this custom version that looked pretty sleek and really attractive, that only exacerbated matters. But really, the main contributor to this operation, this project dying, was A lot of the falsehoods that the company claims many content creators made against them, and that's what led to a mob kind of directing their anger at them and sending them death threats and engaging in a way that completely turned them off from pursuing this project outright. Super5 goes further into this in their official website. When you first go there, you'll get a pop-up notification that you can click on to go to this page that highlights what happened. And this breaks down exactly what the company experienced from their perspective. And I think this is important to read all the way through as it provides some good amount of context. Their official statement reads as follows. So what happened? We know this has been an incredibly disappointing, frustrating experience for many, if not all of you. We feel the same way. This is not what we had in mind when we decided to do this. With all the attention this generated, naturally, there's a lot of speculation going around. So let's set the record straight. First problem, scam panic. We have been using the term scam panic to describe the first problem we encountered after we launched our storefront and Twitter account. We think it's perfectly reasonable to be skeptical of an operation that spun up as quickly as we did. However, we began to see people on Twitter and YouTube actively pushing the scam narrative, some even claiming to have proof of this. This was hurtful, confusing, and unfair, given that we hadn't even sold anything at that point, and thus had no reputation to prove or disprove it. Nobody had any proof of anything, really, only that we're new. We began to respond to these accusations as best as we could, explaining that we are new, we have no reputation, and if anyone feels uncomfortable trusting us with their hard-earned cash because of that, please do not buy anything from us. We encourage people to watch the proof videos out there if you can. Our observation is that these videos had a healthy amount of skepticism and annoyance about us existing, which again is understandable and alright with us, but were promoted as proof of a scam. While they did provide an unusual form of site feedback for us, which we listened to and updated our site accordingly, our best guess is that the creators of these videos took this approach to attract viewers through a clickbait title at our expense. We understand that views matter for monetization, and it's hard to fault someone for jumping on a good opportunity to drive more views their way. We hope it worked. We hope that in the future they exercise much greater consideration for others before throwing out unfair accusations. At the time of this writing, refunds have been processed for 98% of all orders, with the remaining 2% completing sometime this week. As far as we know, scams don't generally provide timely refunds or bother to write explanations like these. Now look, I have no way to know one way or another whether the scam claims are true or not, but as far as I can tell, people have been getting their refunds. The company didn't have a history of scamming people in the past. This is just a startup new project that certain loud minority went out of their way to try to demonize without seemingly any concrete proof. Though, of course, if you guys can prove me wrong on that front, if there's any evidence that supports this notion that this company was out to scam people, let me know. But as far as I can tell, as far as I've researched, there's really no evidence to that effect. A lot of the skepticism came from the fact that this is just not a well-known company. A lot of people try to look into this company. They couldn't find a lot of information. So either this company is just very new or it's just a very small group of people. I understand the skepticism, but skepticism is one thing. If you want to claim that something is a scam, you gotta have ample proof. You've gotta have solid evidence before you ruin a company's reputation, before they've had a chance to kick off. The statement then proceeds by detailing their second major problem, payments. We knew that there would probably be some problems with payments, given the traffic we were expecting. We did not expect there to be payments taken without orders being secured. This was not okay, and as soon as we discovered this was happening, we immediately began working on reversing the erroneous payments. On top of this, our payment processor for standard payments disconnected us from our site during pre-orders. Because of this, suddenly everyone lost the ability to delete their cards from their profiles. With the scam narrative already circling around, this sparked speculation that we were keeping everyone's credit card numbers to steal them. This isn't true, and we hate that we even have to say that. Also, this concern ignores how payment systems work and the strict standards in place to prevent theft of credit card information, and that's all detailed right here. The straw that broke the camel's back, though straw is an understatement, hostility and threats. Working through scam accusations and payment problems are one thing. As soon as we began receiving threats to our safety, we saw no way forward that would be worth the risk. Nobody should ever have to deal with the psychological distress of receiving credible threats to their safety. Nothing is worth that. We receive multiple threats, some of which appear to be actively trying to locate us to inflict physical harm. This is not what we signed up for, and that's why we decided to cancel orders and refund everyone. At this point, if things calm down and we see a safe way forward, we may try again. If we do, it will be with a quiet, invitation-only approach. Those invitations would go to those who had secured an order previously, stayed within the order limits, and did not list their pre-order on eBay. We hope this clears up some of the rumors and speculation out there. Please be kind to one another, and please be patient with us in the interim while we step back and reevaluate. Honestly, I don't blame them for pursuing a more private route if this project were to return, which is still up in the air. Looking at this statement, honestly, I think it explains itself very well. There is a semblance of humility here where it's not trying to stoke any flames. It's just trying to say, here's what happened, here's the issues that we faced, here's some of the bullshit that we got, and once we started getting death threats, credible threats, we decided enough is enough. The one thing that really seems to have kind of put gasoline in the fire was the issue of people not getting confirmation emails of their order after having paid for their console. And that was an honest mistake, and, criticizing that is fair game. But the lies that perpetuated crazy people on the internet who engage in this manner with hostility and threats, that's where the project really kind of was ruined. I'm not saying there shouldn't be skepticism when it comes to a brand new company suddenly selling something that seems really cool and highly desired. I'm not sure if the launch of this product would have ended up working out really well, or if it would have had issues, if the final product would have ended up living to what the render showed. I don't know any of that. But this whole guilty before proven innocent is far from ideal. It should be the other way around, innocent before proven guilty. But I do think we are going to start seeing a lot of custom plate designs and controller designs in the near future. I suspect Sony will start releasing their own official swappable plates and controller designs, but this would have been a cool alternative while we wait for that to grow and to kind of come into its own. But more than anything, it's just kind of gross to see how common death threats are becoming. It's okay to criticize and be upset at certain developments, but going out of your way to literally threaten someone, to literally engage in a criminal activity because of video games, I don't know what's wrong with some of these people. People who engage like this, they add nothing of value to the conversation. They contribute no new information. There's no criticism. There's no constructivism. Based on what I know now, I really hope that the company picks itself back up. I hope they manage to get this project up and running again. Even if they do it privately, I hope the people who engaged in a well-intentioned manner with them get the consoles that they initially planned to order before this internet mob kind of ruined this whole endeavor. That's one man's take, though. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the design of this PS2-themed custom black PS5. What do you think about the company's statement surrounding this issue in relation to accusations and claims that the company was out to scam people? Drop a comment, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.